Okay, first and foremost, I'm going to struggle through this video because hay fever in the air is absolutely killing me. Also, I've gone for a run around London. It's super there's like loads of pollen or whatever, so I'm going to struggle through this. But we do have big news. Arsenal are in talks with Benjamin Cesco, according to Florian Plettenberg of Sky Sports and Sky Germany. He said, with an exclusive, he puts the word exclusive. Arsenal now in concrete talks with RB Leipzig regarding Benjamin Cesco. Marcel Schaefer and Andrea Berta are in contact, while Arsenal also monitoring other strikers such as Victor Gyokeres. Their pursuit of Cesco is serious. Mikel Arteta big admirer of the 21-year-old forward from RB Leipzig. His release clause for the summer stands at 80 million euros. Deal on. 80 million euros, 80 euros in pounds is 67 million pounds. Gets you Benjamin Cesco. It's about the fee, or a bit more than the fee it would cost to get Victor Gyokeres. Look, I've got a few thoughts on the links. I mean, Team News and Ticks had come out and said that he was absolutely convinced that Cesco was... I've paraphrased way too much, he didn't say that. He came out and said that Benjamin Cesco was the priority as far as he understood it. Alex Goldberg, who was right on Kai Havertz and Declan Rice a few years ago, Chelsea content creator, said that Victor Gyokeres is the one that Arsenal really want and are prioritising. So that all come out yesterday. This is the most concrete in terms of a journalist and a reporter and an entity, a media broadcaster that we trust on this kind of stuff, coming out and saying what's going on. And the news is that Arsenal are in talks with Leipzig for Cesco. I want to say something. I want to be careful how I say it, because it's very, very difficult to be a journalist in this space. It's very, very difficult to always get the wording right on what's going on, and transfers are constantly fluid situations and things can change at any minute. And I'm very aware that I don't want to be critical when someone is actually doing a good job, because we crave information, and then as fans, we get annoyed when journalists aren't bringing information. So, for example, Team News and Ticks has been criticised recently for being kind of really mysterious about the winger target. People get annoyed about that when it's kind of like there's an unnamed player, blah, blah. And here we have Florian Plettenberg who's actually telling us stuff like talks for Rodrigo, talks for Cesco. He's putting his neck on the line and saying that this is happening. I say all that to say, though, I sometimes think you could fall in the trap of almost over-reporting and maybe going a bit soon. And then when it's not backed up by other media, like an Ornstein, like a Romano, like all the other people we know, then it's a risk of looking a little bit like you've made more of actually a pretty standard situation. So what I mean by that is, Arsenal now in concrete talks. I mean, that's pretty strong. He's saying Arsenal are in talks. Arsenal, while they're monitoring other strikers, their pursuit for Cesco is serious. Now, who's to say that this is dressed up in the way it's been said, and I've read out the tweet as it is. Who's to say that Berta hasn't just picked up the phone to Marcel Schaefer and RB Leipzig in the way he has for many other strikers? Who's to say that those conversations weren't preliminary? You know, you guys wanted the player last year, Arsenal. These are the terms of the deal before. This is how they're changed. You know, here's the information you need to know. Like, who's to say that it's not quite surface level stuff that I expect a good sporting director to do for all their targets? I don't believe that Arteta, Berta and the transfer committee are sat in a room together, you know, dishing out, you know, putting out all these names and doing their profiling and their scout reports and everything, and that the conversation on the phone is picked up for the first time for these players once they've decided that's the one they want. I imagine that there are constant talks. So where I'm a little bit hesitant in all this is, it sounds very like, boom, that's the guy Arsenal want. Cesco's the guy. Talks are happening. There's a release clause. Can they negotiate it down? Like, deal on. And that's what he said. He literally said the word deal on. And he said that for Rodrigo too. But I still can't help but feel that this could be dressed up in a tweet to be really like something. And the reality is, it's still quite surface level. But I might be wrong. And let's give credit, because this is someone who's trying to tell us what's going on, to be fair, and is coming in with info. So, do you know what I mean? You're down if you do, you're down if you don't. the journalists that don't really say much, that come out when things are sort of more signed, sealed, delivered, we give credit. We come out and say, well, where were you? This wasn't your news. Someone else beat you to it. But then they're the ones we kind of trust the most. It's like, well, when they speak, though, we know something's really happening. So a difficult one. In terms of him being the preferred choice to Gyokeres, that won't sit right with a lot of people. And I'm going to reserve my judgment. There's a lot of people in this space whose opinions I trust who say, no, Cesco is the guy. But then you can't argue Gyokeres' numbers. And I tell you what you can't argue with now. I don't really care that much if Cesco's the better player in 3 years. It's about delivering in this next season. And if Cesco's too raw to do that, then yes, of 3 years' time, I won't care about that. But we're talking about next season. We can't keep waiting and getting to phase 7, 8 and 9. We need a striker that delivers now. But there is something about Cesco that I like. There is something about his technical quality and frame and ability to strike a ball cleanly from distance. Seems a good aerial threat in the box. Seems a good... I like the profile. Gyokeres feels a little bit more of a brute, doesn't he? But my word, those numbers are a joke. So my preferred choice at the moment is Gyokeres, but I'm not like, oh, I hate the idea of this deal. I think a year older, a year more experience, and some of the goals he scored, there's clearly an extremely talented player in Benjamin Cesco. But it will underwhelm some people. I will reserve judgment. And the cynic in me does keep thinking and does keep saying that Arteta wants to start games with Kai Havertz next season. I think he really still does. And I think if that's the case, well, I'm concerned, first and foremost. Sorry for the hard cut there. Havey was killing me. Anyway, all this to say, I think Arteta wants to start with Kai Havertz next season up front. Or at least be able to, without feeling like he's dropping an undroppable signing. I think with Cesco gives him a bit of room to do that. And I think he likes versatility in his options. I don't think he wants a player that he has to play in one position and that has to be in the team in one particular role. And I think Gyokeres would be that where I think Cesco isn't as a squad player. Struggling here, so I'm going to leave it there. But yeah, ultimately, that's the latest for Cesco. Just very quickly, an exclusive from Gunner blog. This came out 5 minutes ago. Arsenal's assistant sporting director, Jason Ato, has left the club. Ato, who was a strong candidate to replace Edu and was interim, will serve a period of gardening leave. He leaves Arsenal after a decade to further his career. It's just a bit of news there. We know we didn't have a good transfer window in January. A lot of people looked to him for that, but the reality was a club failure too. So yeah, there we go. Talks for Cesco are ongoing, but as I asked earlier, how much tangible news is there? I've been using the word tangible a lot recently, haven't I? It's like, yeah, how much do we really buy it is what I'm saying. Anyway, I'm not sure, but let's see. But big up Sky Germany and Florian Plettenberg. All right, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Catch you in a bit.